Okay, so it's been a minute since we've done a video between you and me, the audience, but you've probably seen that we have recently revised the Spicy Micra into version 3, the hotter and spiciest version of the Micra that I have built so far. So in this video we're just going to go over what's changed really in the last year or so. Now, this car hasn't been a year in the making, it's actually been 4 months in the making. There was an extreme decision back in December to do some competition this year, mainly because the Honda that we're building in the workshop just is going to take a bit more work to get it to where we need to be for competition ready. So we decided as a team to focus our attention back on the Micra. So yeah, it looks, in my opinion, the best revision yet. It looks absolutely mint. We've got the new aero package, we've got the new massive wing, and if anything, the new sort of livery. I mean, it's amazing how much better a bit of simple colour you can add to the car that can really make the car pop and just look really amazing. So yeah, let's just go through the highlights. Let's just do a nice, quick and easy, simple video. So more carbon fibre. We have a new front bumper. This is a low drag bumper that me and Ilya devised back in February, I believe. We've got a picture of the plug on the screen now, and as you can see, we just took the original bumper, we made like a wooden frame to hold the bumper in situ, and then we got a bit of UPVC hygienic board from Eurocell just down there. We cut it to shape, and then Ilya took it away, put some body filler on it and some tape and stuff and some wax, and then produced me this single piece carbon fibre front bumper. And yeah, I think that's one of the main things which sets this car out. Now, the reason we did that is for two reasons. I wanted the look of how the bumper is, but because of what's underneath the bonnet now, I wanted to maximise the space we had by bringing the cooling package as far forward as we physically can. And luckily we did that for reasons we'll go to in a minute. So complementing the carbon fibre bumper is we've got a brand spanking new carbon fibre splitter, also courtesy of a Rusky Weld Fab. Now this is a properly designed and properly mounted one this time. Before we used to have some like really cheap tension rods inside there. It was just an absolute nightmare to fit and take off, and it also ended about here, whereas this one now comes all the way up to anti-roll bar, which is roughly in line with the dorsal here, or one solid or one solid carbon fibre piece. Complementing the splitter is the new carbon fibre canards or end plates, depending on how you want to call them. And then we've also got some titanium skid blocks underneath there that we sell on the shop as well. Wheels and tyres, obviously we've gone to a Yokohama AO52 this year, but I was being a bit weight conscious with this car. So these are I think the 720s, the name will be on the screen now of what they are. Still 15x8 ET20, but most importantly these are they are 1.2 kilos lighter than the old rotor RKRs that we were running. So you know, we've lost 4.8 kilos over the weight of the car just in the wheels, but however the tyres actually weigh heavier than the Nankangs, so we've kind of offset that weight balance in between the wheels and tyres. Front brakes remain the same, the Pulsar 282 Willwood kit. We've just got some brand new Gen 2 Willwood Dynalights on there, whereas we had the old Gen 1s on there. Nothing wrong with the Gen 1s, it's just we were chasing a bit of reliability this year, so it just made sense to change them, just for a bit of peace of mind really. Continuing the aero package is we have got the wing. This is a TCR spec wing from Tegoa. It's great. It's the chord that I wanted. It's probably a bit too aggressive for what we want with what we're trying to achieve with the car. It's also incredibly heavy. It's made out of like 4mm aluminium extrude, so it's really heavy, whereas my old wing was like 2mm profile, a lot lighter. Obviously the wing's bigger, heavier now, so that's one thing that we're going to maybe sort of do towards the end of the year. We're going to maybe make like a carbon fibre version of it, and then complementing that is the old carbon fibre end plates, also done by Rusky Weld Fab. Now, one thing I will point out is that he moaned he hasn't got a sticker on the car anywhere, but I said, you've actually got the coolest logo on the car. I'm not sure if I can catch it on the camera, but as you see here is ghosted RWF Rusky Weld Fab in the wing. And if I just sort of rotate around, try and catch the sun in it maybe this side, I can't really see on the camera. But you can just sort of see how he's ghosted his logo in there, and I said, you've got the coolest logo on the car, mate, so there's nothing worth moaning about. Other noteworthy things is, let's just nip inside the passenger side of the car. Is, if you've not been following my journey, I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost 8 stone, I've lost 50 kilos. I am no longer a unit of a man, so that meant we can go for a smaller bucket seat, which is great news, because the scrutineers used to hate how my bucket seat used to touch the cage at the back here and the back here on these 2 bars. And obviously now we've got a smaller seat in here now. That clears the anti-roll, that clears the roll cage, so that's appeased the scrutineers. We've got a brand new steering wheel and some steering wheel controls by Volumtech. Everything is now controlled on the car, whereas before everything was controlled on the keypad. It just wasn't very ergonomic, especially when you're racing, you need pressure indicators. So everything is on here now. We've got 2 trim knobs as well. This one's the boost control, and this one is a throttle map. So obviously position 1 to 10 is percentage for how much the throttle blade opens. We've got a brand spanking new UC10 dash. Let me just turn this on here so we can show that off. But we've got a brand new, courtesy of Haltech, UC10 dash, and it looks absolutely incredible. The clarity of it, how quickly it reacts, the reaction time, the milliseconds or whatever it is, it's such a beautiful display to look at. Down here is we've got our hybrid racing shifter, and then we've got a staging handbrake as well for when we do some sprints later on this year. The whole car's had an entire upgrade. I just need to go back and tidy some wiring. It's not looking the best at the moment, but that's something we can probably do in a bit. Nexus R3, so we've gone from Elite 1500 to an Nexus R3. And we've also got our individual EGT cylinders there, our CAN hub down there. We've got a brand new PD16 in here as well. And obviously we've relocated the battery as well. I need to tidy this all up, it's not that min. Obviously we've still got our plumbing fire extinguisher. But that's about it for the interior of the car. Let's just go into the boot. We've got something very interesting in the boot. So you may remember that last year, back in May, we got sponsored by ATL. ATL sponsored a fuel cell for the Honda, which is currently in bits in the workshop. And unfortunately I wasn't able to deliver the content that we agreed on. I went through a bit of a mental health crisis and a health crisis. So we've decided to bring the ATL fuel cell in here, just so we can at least give ATL some exposure with the spicy Micra. I mean, arguably, it definitely has an incredible USP, which is what they're looking for in these terms of sponsorships and partnerships. So yeah, ATL fuel saver 30 litre cell with their FIA containment as well. And complementing the ATL setup is a Nuke CFC unit. So I will point out at this point is that the fuel cell container was provided, what's the word I'm looking for, was provided by ATL free. So very, very, very thank you much ATL for that. And then the Nuke CFC unit gave me a fantastic discount, and it made that extremely affordable for this kind of build. But the reason I wanted the CFC unit is that it's got the main pump and the swirl pot all inside there. It's an incredibly trick bit of kit, and if you've not got one, you need to get one. Fantastic bit of kit, and also it makes the whole fuel setup a lot quieter, rather than having the external swirl pot and all the Bosch 044 fuel pumps just whizzing away, drowning out everything noise. And because it's all in there and it's dampened by the fuel, it's incredibly quiet. The reason we've got on the fuel cell is the old fuel cell used to fuel starvation and right in corners below 3/4 tank, so we always had to carry 3/4 tank of fuel as dead weight, whereas now we can carry a lot less fuel and we can run this tank down if we need to shed some kilos. And the entire fuel system, as I'll show you underneath the bonnet in a minute, is all ready for ethanol. So we were conscious that we wanted to run E85 fuel when we got round to it, or at least some ethanol based fuel, maybe like E50, E60. So the entire fuel system is good for that. Health Performance came back on board again. Health Performance, I asked them if they could supply me some discount on all new hoses for the car, and they came back and said, whatever you want, sir, you can have. So they gave me an inch, I took a mile. Every single hose on this car has been changed. We got all new brake lines in the fluoro yellow to match the delivery, and all PTFE-6 fuel lines. So really want to shout out Hell for getting on board with that again. So again, just want to thank ATL for the fuel cell, Nuke Performance for the CFC unit, and Hell brake lines for all of the hoses on the car. As you'll see under the bonnet, Hell came in clutch with all the hoses. So let's just go along the sponsors here and let's just give some shout outs. Obviously Nuke Performance Stainless Tyres is Adam, who's just over there, and Adam looks after the car geo-wise before each event. G19, which is Doug, he has gave us some machined parts that we've used underneath the engine bay, which we'll get to in a minute. Extreme Plasma gave me that 2x4 CNC plasma table, which is in the back of the workshop there, and that has come in incredible clutch, especially this last yesterday, which I could probably show you in a different video, but we've done some trick suspension work underneath there, and every single profile that we've had to make for the car, whether it be to mount the splitter, whether it be to some brackets for the exhaust system, suspension modifications in terms of all the linkages that we put on yesterday, we've managed to design and cut in-house in a matter of minutes from coming up with that. So, you know, I dare say there's also a lot of bracketry underneath the back end, which is courtesy, all been cut on the Extreme Plasma. So I want to thank you, Rob, for supplying that plasma machine for us, because it has been instrumental to getting this car done. Not having to rely on laser cutting supplies and other people that can sometimes take weeks or days for like the smallest little bracket that you need, which just stops the job. So the ability to be able to cut it in-house and have it welded within that 2 or 3 minutes of conceiving that has been absolutely incredible. And of course, all that stuff that we plasma cut needs welding, so that's where Artec comes on board. And Artec are a proud sponsor of GizFab. They have gave us a plethora of welders that are in the workshop. They gave us the original 170 EXT TIG welder, which was in the mobile fabrication station, which is currently loaded in the van because we're about to go to Leaford Donington in a moment. They gave me a new 211 EXT digital TIG welder, which is my main daily welder, which is also in the workshop. And they very recently last year gave me their brand spanking new MIG 170 digital MIG welder, which we have used to weld a lot of stuff on this car underneath. I like to TIG weld, but sometimes it's just easier to MIG weld stuff. And obviously the Honda had everything on the Honda's been welded with that welder. You know, we are building towards a video on the Honda. That'll be a completely separate video. So I want to say, at the same time, I want to say sorry to Daz and the gang for not delivering the content, but I also want to say thank you, because without their wonderful partnership, there'd have been no welders to do what we need to do. Exedia Racing Clutch, shout out to Stuart for that. Stuart actually gave me a very posh clutch, twin plate clutch to go in the K24 all-wheel drive Honda. Obviously that's not done yet, and then obviously when we conceived this and when we knew we was going K-series, we needed the clutch, and that was just sitting there. And again, they've supplied me a clutch. I need to generate some content and some social stuff for them. The Micra's got an incredible USP, so thanks to Stuart and Exedia Racing for supplying that clutch for us. Racing brands, although not really directly involved with this car, I mean they are and they aren't. They're more involved with the Honda. They supplied all the bits to build the K24, which is currently on my engine stand in there, but they are part of the team and the family overall, so they deserve a mention on there. Torque GT, now Torque GT have come in absolute clutch with this car. So not only did they give me some incredible prices on some of the components, such as the diff, and they sorted me out this hybrid shifter. I was kind of desperate for it with the cables and stuff, and they came in absolute clutch to get that there. So I want to thank you, Matt, for that. But also, thanks to Torque GT, we have a brake pad sponsor. So we are now sponsored by Dixel. And if that name rings a bell, most likely from Danny DC2, is they are also sponsored by Dixel, good old Danny, and we are also now sponsored by Dixel. So we've got rear pads and we've got front pads, and they're going to supply us pads as of when we need them this year. So they're expensive pads, so I'm incredibly grateful for that. And we with the older, slower setup, we went through 3 sets of pads a year, so that's a good chunk of money that I'm not spending this year. So I want to thank you, Matt at Torque GT, for sorting that. Thank you, mate. It's been well. It's been helpful. I can't get the words out. Vibrant Performance, again, not directly involved with this car. They gave me a sponsorship deal on the K20 for Honda. They've supplied the intercooler, all the pipe works, the vanging clamps, all of the 321 material to make the exhaust manifold out of, and of course, you know, mental health and my weight issue last year, motivation went down the drain. That's what I've done. So again, I've not been able to generate some content for them, so they're going to be a worthy mention on this car this year. Again, same with RWB. They're not really directly involved with this car, but they are part of the family and the team, so well worth mention. ATL for the fuel cell, we've just mentioned that, and then we've got Turbo Smart, who gave me a fantastic price on a couple of components we've got underneath the engine bay. So without further ado, obviously we're all here for the engine, so let me try and do this one-handed, because I don't really want to edit this video. I want to just load it off the camera onto the YouTubes with no fancy editing. So let me just pop that there, if the wind doesn't take it. Probably will do in a minute. So the biggest change of the car is the K20. The K20. The K20. Eden, you said you was never going to go K-Series. Yeah, well, I say a lot of things, and I still do it. So here we are, K-Series. There was a bit of an instrumental thing, which is why this whole engine thing happened with the K-Series is... basically, a sponsor said if you don't get a reliable engine in this year, we're cutting ties with you. So that's why the K-Series is in here now. So bit of rundown for you, just give you the overall basics. That is a K20 Z4 out of a 2008 FN2 Civic Type R. It's got 140,000 miles on it, and I bought it after it was rolled into a ditch, literally rolled over into a ditch. It was mangled. If I can find a picture, I know I said I didn't want to edit it, but I'll probably put some B-roll pictures in it afterwards, but on the screen if so. Yeah, 140,000 miles, and it ran. I was a bit obviously conscious about the engine, because obviously when you roll the car, engine's upside down, starves the engine of oil, and in theory knackers the engine. But luckily on these newer cars they have inertia switches, so when the car detects it rolls over at the same time it deploys the airbags, it cuts the engine. So luckily there's an inertia switch on the dashboard. You press that button, engine starts, and it's been running mint, and it's been through 3 dyno sessions, around at time attack, and a track day I did the other night, so it's mint for what it's done. Turbo, that's a good point actually. Yes, on the back here, so obviously we've got Hell, Aiden Vivid, which is just over there, Vivid. Aiden's done all the sticker work on the car, and then Market Pulsar. Pulsar turbos we have got a GT3587R, which is a slightly bigger turbo than I like to fit, but after speaking with people in the know, I did want to use the old 4849G, which is the Garrett G25 550 equivalent, but it was quite I was told that the turbo, although great, would make the power I wanted to do, would spool too early, and because this is a factory engine, it would load up the rods at lower RPM, which is, you know, then Uncle Rodney comes knocking on the side of the block. So although that turbo is quite big, that turbo would do 600, maybe 700 at push, maybe more. It's mint. I can't describe it. It's so responsive for the power it makes. Absolutely mega. So I want to thank you, Pulsar, Market Pulsar, for supplying that turbo. I mean, they didn't actually supply this turbo for this car. Again, like with everything else, they supplied it for the Honda that's in there. And again, they came on board, and well, I said, can we do a deal on the turbo? And they said, don't worry, use that one I've given you, and then we'll give you another one with the Honda. So massive shout out for Market Pulsar for doing that. Again, incredibly small business here in the UK, so to get even smaller, although Pulsar's a massive company, Mark kind of worked on his own as like a small distributor. So to be able to get that sort of help from a smaller business is incredible, especially with like Aiden and like G19. So shout out to all the small businesses as well. Engine wise itself, we actually just been back on the dyno the other day. 447 horsepower at the engine, obviously 1.2 multiplied for watts of the hubs. I think we worked out about 380 at the hubs, and then we've got a lower boost setting, which is only 20 horsepower at the moment. We're just kind of going with some boost issues on this, which we'll go through in another video. Skunk 2 copy inlet manifold, which we welded on a drive-by wire throttle body for a Bosch 74mm throttle body. Just down there, which you can't really see, is the Turbo Smart 45mm Gen 5 wastegate, and then we've also got the FPR6 fuel pressure regulator. Yes, don't panic, the fuel pressure regulator is meant to do that. It's got a special fitting on here which is from Medium Automotive, and that allows you to mount the fuel pressure regulator on the rail, and then obviously it moves like that, which means it's not going to snap off and spray fuel everywhere. Obviously big intercooler which fills the mouth, radiator obviously. We've got a 3-inch cold side, 2.5-inch hot side. Now if you remember when I said that we had to move all the cooling package forward, a bit of forward planning which I didn't know I needed, turns out we did, because if we didn't do that we wouldn't have been able to get this boost pipe in here. I didn't want to do a twin pass, I wanted a single pass, so that's why it's a bit unconventional doing it like that. But now the engine's in, I don't see any other way we could have done it because of all the space restrictions in there. But yeah, I'm really happy with that setup. So going back to Hell Performance, I just need to tidy up this boost controller actually, and I'll do that when we get to Donington. Is that every single hose in the car is an AN fitting, and I mean every single hose. Right down to the boost controller, it's all AN fittings, the catch tanks, all AN fittings, the clutch, the brakes, all AN fittings, even down to the vacuum which goes to turbo is all AN fittings, including the brake booster vacuum is all AN fittings. So when Hell gave me an inch, I definitely took that mile. So I think that's it for the overview. Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Full 3-inch turbo back exhaust system, obviously. Underneath has all been redone, so we've had the axle off, we've had it cleaned, powder coated, we've had all the arms powder coated. It looks absolutely immaculate underneath there. As part of the fuel cell is that obviously the spare wheel well has gone. And then centre exit exhaust, which is, the car's not completely done yet. I'm still waiting for Ilya to make me the carbon fibre side skirts, and then we've also got a massive, and I mean a massive diffuser to go out the back of the car here. I've also got a fiberglass / carbon fibre boot lid to go on with a plastic screen, so we're going to be able to lose another 20 kilos out the back of the car. So as it stands, the car weighs 855 kilos, which, yes, I know the sign says 820 and 820 kilos, 420 horsepower. That's because, you know, I only wanted to get the poster done once, so I've already calculated how much weight we're going to lose, and I know for a fact that it's 19 kilos to lose out of the factory boot lid by changing it for a fiberglass and a plastic screen. So, and then we've also got some carbon fibre doors coming, so we should be, by the time we've got the carbon fibre doors on and the boot on, we should be sub 820 kilos, which means the car's going to be an absolute menace. Which brings me on to myself. I've lost a lot of weight, as you could probably tell if you've seen the other videos. I used to weigh 151 kilos. I've now plateaued at about 99.5, annoyingly, for the last 6 weeks. So I think my body's like, yeah, you're done, mate. You've lost all your weight. That's where you're going to sit. So with me in the car, that's 955 kilos, which is good going. So it's going to shift. We are having some issues with it at the moment, which we're trying to solve. Hopefully, we've done some bits yesterday, which will be in a separate video later on next week. So I've already filmed it. And then obviously we're just about to load to Donington now to go do round 2 of Time Attack. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Sorry it's been a while. We're going to try and get a steady stream of content going this year on the Spicy Micra. I started to film a Cadwell vlog, and then I gave up once we had some issues with the car. But hopefully at Donington I'm just going to get someone, I'm just going to hand this camera to someone and say, look, just film whatever's happening, and then hopefully I can generate some exciting content for you this year. So that being said, we have got t-shirts on sale now. We've got posters on sale now, and we've got a load of other Spicy Micra version free merch as well. So if you want to support me in one way or another, whether it be a like, share, subscribe and all that jazz, or definitely my £30 a month YouTube AdSense goes a long way not, go buy a t-shirt, and go buy a pin, a banner, a poster, and it'll be greatly appreciated. And we'll see you in the next video.